I'm Teisha Bader with Shalom TV's news update for Monday, April the 8th, 2013. As Jews in Israel and around the world observe Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Memorial Day today, the White House released a statement from President Obama remembering the lives lost during the Holocaust and paying tribute to those who survived the atrocities. The president referred in the statement to his recent Israel visit and specifically to Yad Vashem, where he says he had the opportunity to, quote, reaffirm our collective responsibility to confront anti-Semitism, prejudice, and intolerance across the world. Obama further said, on this Yom HaShoah, we must accept the full responsibility of remembrance as nations and as individuals, not simply to pledge never again, but to commit ourselves to the understanding, empathy, and compassion that is the foundation of peace and human dignity. Holocaust Memorial Day began last night and continues throughout the day today. As you may have seen on IBA News, Israelis stood for 2 minutes of silence at 10 o'clock in the morning local time as sirens wailed across Israel in remembrance of the 6 million Jews who were murdered by the Nazis during the Holocaust. Various memorial ceremonies followed throughout the country and across the world. In Poland, IDF Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Benny Gantz led the March of the Living, a 3-kilometer walk from the Nazi death camps of Auschwitz to Birkenau, together with 10,000 participants. This year marked the first time that an IDF Chief of General Staff was leading the march. Gantz, whose mother is a Holocaust survivor, was also accompanied by a delegation of IDF officers as well as bereaved families of fallen IDF soldiers. Gantz addressed the crowd at the site of the death camp, saying that the state of Israel ensures that such a horror as the Holocaust will never happen again. He said, never again shall a calamity such as this transpire in our world. There shall never be a second Holocaust. We will not forget, nor will we allow it to be forgotten. And we will surely never, ever again, he said, stand unready to defend ourselves, adding there is no weapon or evil intention which can stand against the army of the Jewish people. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry is in the middle of his Israel visit and met today with Israel's President Shimon Peres, where he said that the U.S. would continue to aim for a diplomatic solution to the Iranian nuclear threat, but that the U.S. also understood the danger of the threat and that the clock was ticking. Kerry said the U.S. understood the threat of Iran, and as the president has said many times, he doesn't bluff. He is serious, and we will stand with Israel against this threat and with the rest of the world who have underscored that all we are looking for is Iran to live up to its international obligations. As you may have seen on IBA News, Kerry had met yesterday with Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas in efforts to revive peace talks between Israel and the Palestinians. And after the meeting with Peres, Kerry said he believes there is a way forward despite the difficulties involved in restarting the process of peace talks and in reaching a two-state solution. The Secretary of State met with Peres after participating in the national wreath-laying ceremony at Yad Vashem for Yom HaShoah, where Kerry said it was an honor to, quote, share in the uniqueness of that expression of sorrow and honor for this remarkable moment in history which we mark. Kerry was scheduled to meet with other Israeli officials today and with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu tomorrow before leaving the country. The Israeli government expressed its condolences on the passing of former British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu called Thatcher a steadfast friend of Israel and the Jewish people. Israel's President Peres called the former British Prime Minister an extraordinary leader and true friend of Israel, saying she stood by us in times of crisis and used her influence and power to help us make peace, referring to Thatcher's role in Israeli-Jordanian peace talks in the late 1980s. And Chief Rabbi of the UK, Lord Jonathan Sacks, released a statement today as well, saying that Thatcher was loved and admired by many in the Jewish community who will miss her deeply. Margaret Thatcher passed away earlier today at the age of 87 after suffering a stroke. And finally, a protest and vigil is planned this evening in Israel to mark Jonathan Pollard's 10,000th day in prison. The event is said to take place across the street from visiting Secretary of State Kerry's hotel in Jerusalem to protest Pollard's prolonged imprisonment and demand his release due to the length of time he has already served and to his deteriorating health. Organizers from the Justice for Jonathan Pollard campaign called the gathering an urgent vigil to save Pollard's life. The Free Pollard campaign said the message of the vigil would be 10,000 days is enough, saying the president should let Pollard go while he is still alive. After 28 years in prison, both justice and compassion should compel the U.S. to release Pollard now. Jonathan Pollard was convicted of spying for Israel in 1987. He is serving a life sentence. And that's Shalom TV's news update from Monday, April the 8th, 2013. I'm Teisha Bader.